and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where it's safe to say we've got some pretty controversial topics coming our way. These are things today that are really dividing Barcelona fans, and I'm interested to know how you see them, which side you land on, because emotions right now, they are running high. There is no doubt about that, and we all want the best for the team. We want to see improvement, and that is why, really, there is a bit of frustration among us right now, but we're going to be discussing today Xavi Hernandez, Robert Lewandowski, and Lamine Yamal. It is all coming up. So let's do it. Because let's first of all start with Xavi Hernandez and his reaction after the game against Alaves on Sunday. Because it was, let's not make any mistake here, another unconvincing display for Barça. We did win the game. We're happy with the 3 points. But the performance again leaves so much to be desired, especially the first half, especially the way that we started the game as we discussed in the match review. But let's take a look at what Xavi was saying after the game in his post-match press conference there. Because Xavi did cause a bit of a stir with his words. He said, "I have zero doubts that the criticism from the press is affecting the team right now." He said, "It happened to me as a player, and I can see it happening now. There is a massive wave of negativity surrounding the team that is harming us." So Xavi there really took it upon himself after the game to hit out at the media. He doesn't believe there deserves to be such negativity, and he believes that is the thing right now that is harming the team. He said the criticism doesn't affect me, it affects the players. He said I can see it in their faces. Above all, it affects the younger players. He said you see Inigo, you see Lewandowski, Cancelo, Gundogan. It doesn't affect them, but he said there are a lot of young players here and we have to protect them. So Xavi's saying that the criticism of the team is hurting the younger players, that it's having a negative knock-on effect on them, and that may be one of the reasons as to why we are seeing the kind of performances that we are. And I'm just wondering, guys, what do you make of those words there? Xavi, clearly unhappy, clearly hitting out right now, clearly showing a bit of frustration, and do you feel as though he has a point? Because look, guys, obviously, we don't want to see the media piling on our players. We don't want to see them causing unnecessary negativity and adding pressure to this team. We're always going to fight against that, because there have often been times in the media where Barca have been wrongly singled out, whereby Barca have been actually criticised unfairly, and none of us would stand for that. But are we really about to say that the criticism of the team right now is unjustified? That actually the kind of performances that we're seeing don't deserve anything to be written about them? I think that would be wrong as well, because the biggest problem for me here, guys, with the way that Xavi has spoken, it's that he seems to be suggesting that, look, we're not playing well, and the reason for that is mainly because you keep talking negatively about us, because of the outside noise here at the club. I'm sorry, that is not an excuse, and he knows that. He has been at this club long enough to understand the demands, the pressures, and the expectations, and I actually think there, to mention the younger players, I would understand it if they were the only ones struggling. I would understand it here if everything was going well, except for the younger players. They weren't quite finding their feet, they weren't quite playing well, but it isn't like that, is it? Every single player at this club right now, they look like they don't know what to do, and it's not just the younger players, it's not just them stuck like a rabbit in the headlights, it is everybody, and that is the problem. I don't think we can excuse here these performances, what we're seeing out on the field, just because of what we're hearing from the media, and we can't afford to fall into the trap here, and Xavi can't, that everything outside is to blame. We've got to look inside the club, we've got to look at what we're doing, we have to do that in order to find these problems, to address them, and with some urgency, because it's only then, guys, that outside noise, it will die down, because you can't honestly say that having watched these kind of displays, having watched Barca for week upon week upon week now, that the criticism that we are hearing is unjustified. And Xavi knows only too well the best way to answer critics, the best way to silence the media, the outside noise, is to play better, to do better out there on the field. That is what the club, that is what Barca demands. Just give us something to cling on to give us some element of hope. That is all that we're crying out for. However, guys, and this is where it gets quite interesting, because I feel as though a lot of these things sort of link together that we're talking about today. A lot of emotion, a lot of frustration, like I say, because now we come on to Robert Lewandowski. Let me just say, he gave us hope on Sunday. I want to be very, very clear here. He was the big hero of the game, the header to tie the match. What a header that was. Absolutely incredible goal to get us back in it and turn the game on its head. And I was really happy to see Lewandowski back on the score sheet where he belongs as a multiple goal scorer. That is what we expect from him, and he delivered it on Sunday. However, after the game, there has been drama. There has been, again, a lot of media spotlight on this Barca game because some footage emerged here of an incident between Lamine Yamal and Robert Lewandowski. As you can see right here, it's a move where Yamal cuts inside, he beats two players, does actually really well, then takes a shot at goal instead of maybe passing it on to Lewandowski. Now, at this point, Lewandowski, he was clearly frustrated. He wasn't happy with Yamal. He reprimanded him there about not passing. There was also a move before this as well where he was very, very unhappy. And as you can see right here, Yamal then goes over to Lewandowski. He does extend his arm, almost as if to say, okay, everything though is fine, right? Lewandowski though completely blanks him. He completely ignores there the outstretched arm of Lamine Yamal. Now that is obviously doesn't look great. You could say, did he see him? Is it not how it seems? And usually I would look past this kind of thing. Usually you'd say, well, lots of things happen out on the field. But the problem is right now, guys, this isn't actually the first time. This isn't actually an isolated incident, because just think back to the game against Real Sociedad. After the game, don't forget, we saw one of our usual videos where every player there was high-fiving Xavi on their way to the tunnel. We've seen it many, many times over, but in this game, Lewandowski appeared again to completely blank Xavi. He went past him there, no emotion, no acknowledgement even, no attempt to get involved. Now, a lot of people back then said, well, maybe Lewandowski just didn't really see Xavi. Let's not look into that too much. But now we're seeing it all over again here. And I fully accept that Lewandowski, he is frustrated. At that point in the game especially, he's been going through a bad run. The team are not playing well. He wants more service. Of course he's going to be saying, give me the ball more. He will be angry. And I don't want to make a bigger deal of this than it needs to be. It's in the heat of the moment. Things can happen out there on the field. And he did actually embrace Yamal later in the game after he'd scored. The two of them there did have a moment after his goal. I want to say that. But I just want to say too that when it comes to Yamal, we have to remember we're talking about a 16-year-old player. A 16-year-old player. And I think no matter what the situation, Lewandowski must be a leader. He must be a senior player out there on the field, because he may not have the armband, but players at this club, they will still look up to him. They will still expect him to be there, the example for them. He's there to help younger players, to actually guide them where possible. And I just think here, coming off the back of those words from Xavi just a moment ago, where he's saying the younger players are lacking confidence, they're getting hurt, they're not feeling good at the club, they're the ones under most pressure right now, and then you get Lewandowski in an instance like this, maybe blanking him for a moment, that's not going to help. That is going to kill confidence quicker than anything else. So I just think it's really important here. I know there's anger, I know there's frustration, I know these things can happen, but the players must stay together. We are going through a bad run. We are going through a run here that's going to test everything. You've got lots of noise from the outside. There's lots of negativity. There's lots of pressure. That can lead to moments like this. But we must stand together. That's the only way that we're going to get through this, because we will need Lewandowski. We will need Lamine Yamal, both here and in the future too, of course, that young man. And it is very, very important that the players are there and stand up for each other. We cannot start now falling apart. And I am just interested, guys, really, really am, as to how you see that Lewandowski-Yamal incident. Because like I say, there's no need to make something massive out of it here. I know that certainly things go on the football field. Things can happen in a split second, in the heat of the moment. It's always been that way in football. But just let me know your thoughts down below, guys, on that, your reaction to it, what you make of that kind of coming together. And also let me know your thoughts on Xavi's words as well. Do you buy into what he's saying there about the outside noise, about the negativity? Do you agree with Xavi? Or are there things right now that Xavi and us fans are just seeing a little bit differently? Do let me know all of that down below. There's also content as well coming your way today over on MORETALKFCB too. I thank you guys indeed for your great support. It's important here that we stay together as well. That is really, really key. And I will see you soon with lots more on the way. But until next time, as always, Vishka El Barça.